This is a special edition of the Cupboard Presents Artist Insights. We're at Bogart's The Live Nation concert venue in Cincinnati, Ohio, 2 doors down the street from the Cupboard. The Cupboard sponsored a benefit for Meals on Wheels, and Bob Snodgrass, Steve Sizelove, and Migoo Goodman have graciously offered their time to give us a glass-blowing demonstration today in conjunction with the benefit for Meals on Wheels.
I asked her to be my daughter.
Cardboard box.
This is what she said.
And Mike and I were talking today about what we're going to make. And so I'm going to start off with taking a piece of prep work that I brought from home that is very similar to this one. And you guys can pass this around and check it out. This is a bubble trap section of tubing. And I'm going to sculpt a hollow girl as best I can. And then I'm going to stick that into the kiln, and I'm not sure what will happen from there. This particular element that I'm going to make, I've put inside water pipes as part of the perk, or on the outside as part of the stem. I've also done some mini rigs with them, and I've also used the hollow torso, and leg combination as elements of a goblet for a goblet stem. So this individual section is fairly flexible in what I can do with it.
Hey guys, we just wanted to take a quick moment to have you use caution while watching their projects, because you don't want to look directly into the flame. It's not good for your eyes, but just be careful. Mike, Steve.
Bob gives good advice. So I like to use a blow hose with a swivel. And I'm not sure, the kiln's warm. That way I don't have to actually move the glass to my mouth to blow, and I can see what I'm doing a little better that way.
That is a hair trigger torch. You barely touch those knobs and it takes off.
No. And feel free to holler out any questions as we go along. Be happy to answer them, either truthfully or I'll make something up.
Hey guys, Bob was just saying don't look directly into the flame, it'll hurt your eyes. So kind of look off to the side, okay?
So once that little bubble trap section of tubing makes its way around, if somebody could bring it back up this way, that'd be cool. No, we need some water. That would be good.
She sold my new blue jeans. My father was a gambling man down in New Orleans.
Do you mind, Mike, if I marver right on the table on this? Awesome. So I'm going to use about half of this bubble, or of this piece of tubing here, to make the hips and the butt and pelvis area. And it all gets formed pretty quickly once it's hot. Blow out my bubble. I'm going to flatten. Give a crease for the back of the legs. And now heating the front, I do another crease for the front. That little bit of motion there with my butter knife really defines the legs. It's subtle, but one of the neat things about sculpture is sometimes the more blatant something is, or the more obvious, the less the viewer becomes part of the piece. If as an artist I just give the suggestion of the legs, then as you look at it, your mind fills that in and creates a complete picture with it. Use my butter knife then to begin to define the groin area, or my spoon. Are we?
Don't do what I have done. And spend your life.
Oh!
in
Well,
sin
play more. You make a blank and I'll do something with it.
in the house.
Or Bob, if you want. You can mess with this one too. Oh, okay.
There is a house in Moving. They call
Bring my
around.
jacks. Did you see jacks? Did I bring my jacks?
And it's been
There's a lot of stuff out here. No, it's I just need a little something here. Those two look pretty sharp.
And they're pretty waxed.
And me, oh Lord,
So this is a traditional glass blowing tool called jacks. They are most commonly used in furnace glass blowing applications, but I have found their benefit in flame working applications. So I'm opening up the end of this tube a little bit so I can then attach it to the bottom part of this figure. Two pieces are decently well combined. I'm going to cap the end that's open and puff just a little bit. And I got to push them together a little bit more. Now that I have a blow tube hollow handle on this side, I'm going to switch where I put my blow hose. And now I'm going to be able to begin to work on the upper part of this torso. What I can do is take this handle off, or also known as a point, take that off. going to get this hot and let it pull out a little bit, helping to define the waist. And then just like the butt and the hips, the top part of the torso, once the heat is all in there, shapes really quickly. And I'm going to try to do it here at the front of the bench so you can see. Flatten it down like that. Flatten it down on that side. And you can begin to see it taking shape without losing any heat. I immediately go back in with my shears. These are special glass blowing shears. These are dull, so they're especially not helpful, but they still work. And I come in and I cut at an angle on both sides. And then that defines the shoulders.
Took my $20 bill and it vanished in the air. Stop running, but take my time. A friend of the devil is a friend of mine. I get home before daylight, just might get some.
Now I'm going to give this figure a pose. And so,
Why I cry away each lonely night. The first one's named Sweet Anne Marie, and she's my heart's delight.
Get the whole torso warm from the midsection up, and I grab at a shoulder and basically bend it to one side. And I grab at the other shoulder and pull down.
First one says she got my child, but it don't look like me. Set out running, but I take my time. A friend of the devil is a friend of mine. I get home before daylight.
Now I have to add glass for the shoulder socket. Again, without giving the complete definition of the figure, but giving the idea that there's a shoulder up there is enough to help complete the gesture of the figure.
Got 2 reasons why I cry away each lonely night. The first one's named Sweet Anne Marie, and she's my heart's delight. The second one is Prison Baby, the sheriff's on our trail. And if he catches up with
Now,
me,
just
I'll
like
spend my life in jail.
a Renaissance type sculpture that is just of a torso, I just paddle it down to make it look like a clean point where the arm would continue.
I get home before daylight, just might get some sleep tonight.
Drop another gather on for that side.
Peaches in the summertime.
How many of you in the audience are glass blowers currently?
I can't get the girl I love, I won't have none at all. Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, I know. Shady Grove,
Don't hesitate to heckle.
about Shady Grove.
But for real, if you have any questions, just speak up. Okay, louder. Hot? No.
Wish I
It's actually really comfortable.
Every tune I pick on you, I wish the girl was mine.
We've had the most amazing weather lately. Great for glass blowing.
Shady Grove, my little love, about Shady Grove.
I want to thank you all for coming out and being a part of this. This is a really awesome opportunity to have an event like this in our community. I mean, and I don't live in Cincinnati, but I still consider myself part of the local community. I'm only about an hour away, hour and a half away.
Some come here to fiddle and dance, some
Yep.
come here to tape, some come here to fiddle and dance, some come here to make
There are a lot of different ways to color glass.
shady grove,
This particular piece
shady grove, my
was done by taking cobalt colored tubing, blowing it into another tube that had a screen on the inside of it. And that gives the cobalt tubing a texture from the screen. The screen pops off. And then I fume gold and silver and then stick that inside another tube. And then I have a refrigerator compressor that I use as a vacuum pump that takes the clear tube and sucks it down to the blue tube that has the gold and silver fume on it.
when I
And then at the low spots, it leaves little teeny bubbles.
more trying to worship it.
But there are ways of taking colored rod and striping it down the glass,
Shady grove, my dog.
trailing it on, or there are different ways to build tubing by stacking colored rod on tubing and putting other tubing over it. There are so many different ways to color the glass.
Hey guys, just to let our artists know as well as all of you, we're coming close to 4 o'clock, so we'll be introducing Bob Snodgrass here soon.
Every
You guys
night
need to
when
prepare
I
it all.
go home, my wife would try to please her. More I try to worship gets. Damned if I don't leave her. Shady grove, my little love. Shady grove, I know. Shady grove, my little love. Bound for shady
There you go,
grove.
Mike. Okay. Oh, that's no fun. So now I've got a torso without breasts. That'll never do. So now I go back in and I add gathers for the breasts, but I actually, as I add them, I blow out as well, so the pattern puffs out into the shape of the figure.
Shady grove,
So I have to get the area that I'm dropping the gather on pretty hot.
shady grove, my little love. Bound for shady grove.
Now it was a little bit cold, but also I've got a little bit of a leak in my swivel. Bob, I'm trying not to make a mess here. Okay. Especially the more complicated water pipes are definitely piece by piece. Each particular part has to be prepped up, so when it's time to do the assembly, things happen in the correct amount of time based on the heat of the glass. And on the water pipes too, there are some aspects of cold working, like all of the perk stuff is done on a tile saw, on a wet tile saw. So I'll have to make a section, anneal that, then take it to the tile saw, make the cuts, and then sometimes go back and work that again in the flame if I'm going in and gridding in between the cuts. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Can you come up this way? I'm half deaf. Thank you. Like say an air trap Sherlock. 18 years plus an hour. That's the thing. Good when glass looks decent, when it doesn't have, when it looks like the pieces flowed together well. It usually doesn't take a lot of time because things have been heated properly. The glass moves the way it wants to. The pieces that take the most time are the ones that I have to fight with. And then a lot of times that'll come out looking like it's been through a battle. Maybe there'll be some weirdness to the wall thickness, and you'll see thick, thin spots. Or what's that? Yeah. Awesome.